Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, August 15, 2023. Stand up for your country. And your country, the United States of America, is under siege right now. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So you're going to hear a lot of stupid stuff in the next 72 hours, dumb stuff, false stuff, destructive stuff. You're going to hear it all. I am here tonight to lay this latest Trump indictment and the whole thing, to tie it up into a rational, fair assessment of where we are. And where we are is not in a good place as a country. All right, let's begin with the Georgia situation. So this is putting our democracy in jeopardy. That's not an overstatement. Because what this is a local district attorney interfering in a national presidential campaign. Fani Willis is her name. Fulton County, Georgia, that's Atlanta. She is charging Donald Trump and 18 others, or whatever it may be, with conspiracy racketeering to overturn the Georgia election in 2020. But here's the interesting thing. Fani is the only district attorney in the entire state of Georgia alleging this. All of the others, even the Democrats, have not signed on here. Second thing, you would think that this kind of a charge would be the Attorney General of Georgia's purview, not Fani. And if you don't know Fani Willis, she's an ardent Democratic machine leftist. So there's politics already involved with this. But just step back for a moment. Even if you hate Donald Trump, just step back. One woman in charge of justice in one county has now disrupted the entire presidential campaign. And if convicted in Georgia, Donald Trump would have to go to prison. It's a mandatory conviction. He's not going to be convicted on racketeering and conspiracy. That won't happen. All right. But if he were ever to be convicted, then he would have to go to prison. So Fani Willis began her investigation 2.5 years ago. As soon as Joe Biden walked into office, she started. What she came up with are a series of vague charges, all right? Very few specifics. Now, we'll learn the specifics in discovery when the Trump lawyers go in and get all of the specific information. But we don't know them now. So anybody trying this on television and radio, either way, convicting Trump or acquitting Trump, is doing you a disservice because we don't know. We do know is that Fani could have wrapped this up in 2.5 months, not 2.5 years, because nothing changed from what Trump allegedly did in November and December and early January after the presidential vote of 2020. Nothing's changed. So it took Fani 2.5 years to arrive at this racketeering thing? Does that make any sense to you? No. So now we have a situation where, again, one person, one law enforcement official is now influenced all 365 American citizens. Let's put this into some kind of perspective. Roll the tape.
She is listing over 160 acts. They're often phone calls, meetings, tweets. She just calls them all criminal. She says that they all were knowingly false. And with that broad brush, she's able to indict everyone and bring in 19 people into that courtroom. That's the benefit of using a racketeering approach. But it also increases the danger for the country in terms of how we will handle contested elections in the future.
Now, Jonathan Turley is the best of them. Okay? On the written front, Victor Davis Hanson is the best. So it used to be Charles Krauthammer was the best. The late Charles Krauthammer was the best on TV. I think I vie with Hanson on the column stuff, but Hanson turns out more print stuff than I do. So if you really want the perspective from an honest point of view, Turley and Hanson are your go-to people. Now, out of the 18 co-defendants, we got Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, former White House chief of staff under Trump, John Eastman, Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell. Those are the headliners. They're all going to be brought in, and they have to show up on August 25th for this arraignment. But again, Americans say, well, okay, but we have other things to deal with here, right? We've got the Mar-a-Lago documents. That's a federal beef being played out in Florida. The January 6th interference at the Capitol, the election interference, that's a federal beef. The New York Stormy Daniels thing, which the DA in New York still hasn't explained to New Yorkers or Americans what the federal law is. Why are you even bringing this thing? It's a civil beef. Why'd you criminalize it? Bragg, I don't have to tell you. So that one, it's not going to go anywhere. I don't think the Georgia thing's going to go anywhere because the Trump lawyers can say, this is a federal election. We want it in federal court. That'll be my first step. And Fannie is overreached because there's nobody else in Georgia backing her up. So that would be the first step. Now, the Mar-a-Lago thing, Trump did it. I got a couple of letters at the end of the show I'm going to read to you by viewers, No Spin News viewers, that say he didn't do it, but he did it. So if I were Trump, and I said this earlier this week in my column, I'd plea that out. It's a low-level beef, but I'd plea it out and, whatever it may be. Get that off your sheet, okay? And I'll tell you why in a moment. It's important. The interference in the election of January 6th is all about state of mind. And as I told you yesterday with Vice President Pence, Pence isn't saying that Trump knew the election was lost and lied about it anyway and tried to interfere anyway. That's not what Trump is saying. Pence said that on television. So that case just blows right up there. Again, I'm not trying the case. I'm just telling you what's on the record. So there may be other things in the interference case on January 6th that I don't know. All right. So the Supreme Court is going to have to get involved with this. They have to because the 9 justices know what's happening. They're not stupid people. They know that all of these charges against Donald Trump are coordinated by Democrats. There's not one charge that's been brought against Trump, and I think there are 77 of them now, or 97, I can't keep track. Not one that's been brought by an independent or a Republican. They're all Democrats, and it's all timed, all right, to divert attention away from Joe Biden's problems. The 9 justices know that. They also know what Counselor Turley just said, that if this is successful, if Fani Willis is successful, then any prosecutor anywhere in the country can drum up some kind of charge against a national or state or local office seeker and completely divert their campaign. Supreme Court is not going to allow that to happen. 6 of the justices will absolutely try to stop this. The other 3, I don't know where they're going to come down. But I don't know exactly how the Supreme Court's going to get involved. Now, remember, in the election of 2000, I can't believe that was 23 years ago, the Supreme Court stepped in because Florida was so chaotic, it's so out of control, and basically said, Bush won. And to Gore's credit, Gore said, okay. That is Al Gore's legacy. Trump did not say okay in the 2020 election. He did not. He left the White House, the power turned over, but he continued to say that it was a rigged election. And to this day, there is not enough evidence to prove it. Now, the Trump people continue to say they have it or they're going to present it. All right, I'm ready to listen. But right now, it's not there. So Gore stepped aside, Trump did not. That's the historical fact. However, Trump has a right, a constitutional right, to have an opinion that the election of 2020 was rigged. He has a right to say it. He has a right to write it. He has a right to go around to rallies and rail against it. That is not a crime. It only becomes a crime when, like Fox News, right, Trump knew he lost, and I don't believe that for a second, and I know Trump better than anybody, and then proceeded to try to corrupt the election anyway. Knew he lost, but then continued to take these steps. Right now, Trump believed what he wanted to believe. He got lawyers like Eastman to tell him, you can do another slate of electorates, of electoral people. All Vice President Pence has to do is stay the election, and you can bring in these people from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, wherever, who can say, no, the vote in our state was flawed, and I'm going to give my electoral votes to Trump. That's what Eastman told Trump he could do under the Constitution. Well, it's false. That was bad advice. But Trump wanted to believe it. So that's what he tried to do. But there is not a shred of evidence that Trump did what Fox News did. They knew that the voting machines weren't rigged, but said it anyway. That's why they lost $800 million. No evidence that Trump knew he lost. To this day, that man believes he won that election in 2020. Hey, you would be crazy not to use AMAC's Medicare Advisory Service if you're 65 or over. AMAC's Medicare Advisory Service is the conservative alternative to radical left companies like AARP. They offer free consultations with qualified Medicare experts who can answer all your Medicare questions, and I'm sure you have plenty. Even if you're already on Medicare, contact AMAC to see if you are overpaying for your current plan. There's no cost, no obligation to change plans, and no radical left agenda. Do business with people who have the same values you do, people you can trust. Forget the TV commercials and mailings advertising Medicare services. Go with a company that not only offers you dozens of Medicare choices, but also looks out for your interests without the woke nonsense. So please visit AMAC's Medicare Advisory Service at amac.us/trust. That's amac.us/TRUST. Okay, let's go to the mail. We got Jack O'Day, a retired IRS revenue agent, Bethany Beach, Delaware. It's puzzling to hear about people saying the statute of limitations on the Hunter Biden case has run out. There is no statute of limitation for tax fraud. That is true, Jack, but it's not just tax fraud here. There's a number of other things, foreign agent, as we just said, and they're running the clock out on those. That's the overarch on it. Chris Dolatovsky, Philadelphia. I agree, Michelle Obama is a strong candidate for president, but I doubt she would want to risk the Obama's legacy and place in history by returning to D.C. The Obamas are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and happily enjoying their lives. Well, you never know. All I can do is report the Democratic Party would love her to run. All I can do. Julio Reyes, Bellevue, Illinois. O'Reilly, why do you want Michelle to run? Americans are not that stupid. Who says I want Michelle Obama to run, Julio? Did I say that? No. Okay. Michael on a message board. I hope you are wrong about Michelle Obama. There's no one more polarizing than she. No one who would sow more discord. Okay. Bob Billis, Glen Burnie, Maryland. Bill, please stop saying President Trump should have returned the classified documents. He declassified them. If he can prove that he did that, then the case will be thrown out. There you go, Bob. I hope you're right. but I haven't seen any evidence of that yet. But his lawyers can prove it. No case. Goes. Rhonda Sexton, Twin Falls, Idaho. I'm hearing all this news about the money Joe Biden has received. My question is, they find him guilty of receiving this money. Can the courts take the money away? Well, number one, there isn't a credible report that says Joe Biden received any money yet. That does not exist. Everybody should know that. That's part of due process. Number two, if it can be shown that President Biden benefited from his son and brother's grift, the court, and Joe Biden was prosecuted for it, the court can fine him an enormous amount of money. Can't take that money away, they can fine him. Linda Martin, Lenoir, North Carolina. Where does the money come from that provides travel, clothing, food, and housing for all the migrants crossing the border? The Homeland Security budget. That's where it comes from. Okay. Hugh Nowak, Michigan. You were right months ago, Bill, when you said gasoline prices would return to $4 a gallon in my area. Prices hit $3.99 last week as we approach Labor Day. Yeah. And that's what they do. They got 3 more weeks in the summer driving season. Bang. You're going to get it. Glenda. Killing Jesus is the best Jesus book I have ever read other than the Bible. I think so. You really don't want to know what Jesus the man was like and what he went through. Killing Jesus is it. No theology. You know, there are human beings on this planet that don't believe that Jesus the man ever existed. It's just incredible. But they're there. Okay, let's go to Killing the Witches, which is getting a lot of traction now because Donald Trump is going witch hunt, witch hunt, witch hunt. And all of that emanated from Salem. And I do apply what happened in Salem to today, modern day. Killing the Witches is really 3 books in one. I'll explain that more as we get closer to September 26th. You can pre-order hand-signed copies. We are going to run out of those. So if you want them, get them. Then we have the show, 80% sold out, Friday, October 27th. Paramount Theater, Huntington, Long Island. Leaves will be changing. Beautiful time here on the island. Love to see you all. It's going to be a terrific, terrific, funny, lively show. BillO'Reilly.com, Ticketmaster, Paramount Theater, all have tickets for you. Going fast. Killing the Mob, Killing the Legends, together, $18. Because we like you. All right? So those are 2 of the best killing books. Killing the Legends, Killing the Mob, together, $18. Word of the day, do not be imperious. Hillary Clinton, imperious. I am, P-E-R-I-O-U-S. Back with the final thought in a moment. Throughout history, people have needed to find ways to survive, obviously. Whether they have needed to survive war, competing leaders, or natural disasters, a common theme has been food insecurity. Heirloom seeds can hold crucial value in order to provide your family with food when you need it most. They can even turn into a form of currency. But not all seeds are created equal. Do not make the mistake of buying cheap seeds from China that won't ever germinate. Instead, buy American. Buy heirloom and buy from our sponsor, ARC Seed Kits. These seeds can last 15 years, and you only have to buy once because heirloom seeds will grow into vegetables and will produce more seeds for the next year. Build your seed stock today by going to arcseedkits.com. Use promo code BILL at checkout. Again, that's arcseedkits.com, promo code BILL. All right, here is the final thought of the day. I gave 15 minutes at the top of the No Spin News tonight on the latest indictments and all of them together, and I hope you absorb that, okay? Now, this morning on WABC Radio, which is our flagship station, in fact, thousands of you are listening to me right now on WABC. I had a segment on Sid and Friends in the morning with Arthur Idalia, who may be here tomorrow, on this. It was like a debate. Now, I'll probably debate Cuomo tomorrow night, Wednesday night, on News Nation about it. But this one was good because Idalia is a lawyer, and he's tried to punch holes in my analysis nicely. And boy, it's worth listening to. So we posted it on BillO'Reilly.com. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be anything. Just go there, listen to it. You will find it very educational and lively. That's for sure, I believe. So the reason that we do all these things, and I don't like to, if I say I don't like to brag, you're going to have 1,000 things that you can write to me about. Say, you were bragging. All right? It's just like that Verizon commercial. Anyway, we have now so many streams to get our information into the public all around the world, not just in the United States. It's staggering what we have here. And the corporate media will never write about it. The Wall Street Journal did a little bit, and then I got reports, the reporter got yelled at for, they don't want you and everybody else to know how successful that some agencies, independent news agencies, are becoming, and we're one of them. We're the leader of the pack. You may have noticed that we got My Pillow advertising with us for now. I think that's the first time Mike Lindell has gone out of linear TV. I think that's the first time. I think he does a little radio, but independent, and we're happy to have the My Pillow people. I got my Pillow. It's good. Not giving him a plug. I'm just telling you that kind of a big advertiser does not come to a business unless he or she, who's ever running it, believes that there's enough people listening. And we have them. Thanks to you. So that is the final thought of the day. We'll be back here tomorrow with a rock'em sock'em approach. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you then. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.